welcome back to the TD9 podcast. I'm your host Jay, here with an update on some crazy news.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions.
Marching, trying to show that they're like they represent Orlando or like they represent Florida. They don't.
Will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Hey, do you guys remember this?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
So instead of disregarding about what he's saying, we should actually, look it up instead of calling it conspiracy. So the chemical he's referring to is called atrazine. All right, let's just take a look at where to find it. So it's simple. You can just type in atrazine space frogs. Boom. Check this out. Right on National Geographic. Weed killer makes male frogs lay eggs. Checking this out. One of the most common weed killers in the United States may make male frogs lay eggs, a new study says. Atrazine, widely used to kill pests in the U.S. croplands, is an endocrine disruptor, a substance that interferes with an animal's reproductive systems. Okay, so previous research has shown that atrazine can give male amphibians female characteristics, right? For example, they had male frogs that were exposed to atrazine had lower testosterone levels, produced less sperm, and even their mating habits changed by their choosing males over females, right? So to test the chemical's impact, study leader Tyrone Hayes raised 40 genetically male African clawed frogs from hatchlings to adulthood, right? 4 of the adult frogs, or 10%, developed into what looked like perfectly normal females. Now, Hayes, the further mentioned biologist, at the University of California, him and his team dissected 2 of the 4 frogs and confirmed that they developed ovaries, but at the same time maintained their male DNA. Now, of the atrazine exposed males that didn't develop ovaries, 80% of them were unable to produce sperm. That's crazy, right? That's unbelievable.
That's amazing.
But if you don't believe National Geographic, it's on the CDC's website right here. Public health statement of atrazine. Now, let's continue. What is atrazine? Atrazine is a common name for an herbicide that is widely used to kill weeds. It's mostly on farms. Pure atrazine is odorless powder, white powder, dissolved in water, and is made in laboratories and does not occur naturally. All right, so atrazine is also used on crops such as sugarcane, corn, pineapples. You see it says macadamia nuts, evergreen trees. So this is a widely used chemical. Don't let them think that this is only certain farms and certain areas. Nah. So atrazine can be sprayed on croplands before crops start growing and even after they have emerged from the soil. Now, any atrazine that is washed from the soil lands into streams and bodies of water, and they stay there for a long period of time because breakdown of the chemical is slow in rivers and lakes. It also persists for a long time in groundwater. This is one reason why atrazine is commonly found in water collected from drinking wells in some agricultural regions. Let's continue. How can atrazine affect my health? One of the primary ways that atrazine can affect your health is by altering the way the reproductive system works. Now, studies shows that couples living on farms that use atrazine for weed killer have found an increased risk of preterm delivery, which means babies born alive before the 37 weeks of pregnancy are completed, so premature. They admit that on CDC. Now, atrazine has been shown to cause changes in blood hormone levels in animals that affect their ability to reproduce. Now, how it affects the hormone levels, I don't know. But in what detail? You probably could use your imagination. Now, the article continues and says, some of the specific effects observed in animals are not likely to occur in humans because of biological differences between humans and these types of animals. However, atrazine may affect the reproductive system in humans by a different mechanism. Atrazine can cause liver, kidney, and heart damage in animals. It is possible that atrazine can cause these effects in humans, although it has not been examined. Now, okay, they just said that. Check this out. An increased risk of developing memory tumors, which cancer, was observed in one strain of female rats. Because of biological differences between rats and humans, it is unlikely that humans would develop this type of cancer following atrazine exposure. Now, but if you look up the reason why, just Google the reason why do scientists use rats for study. Now, the National Institute of Health says mice and rats have long served as the preferred species for biomedical research animals and models due to their anatomical, physiological, and genetic similarity to humans. So on one side, they're like, oh, it can't affect you because, rats are different from humans. But on another side, it's telling you that's the reason they use the mice or rats. That's for you to decide. On one side, they can say it affects every single mammal that it comes in contact with, but for some reason, not humans. No, you're special. You're not. We're going to put poison on everything else. Other animal that comes in contact with it, like dies or something happened to it. But no, you're fine. All right. How can atrazine affect children? All right. So maternal exposure to atrazine in drinking water has been associated with low fetal weight and heart and urinary and limb defects in humans. Once again, just remind you, this is CDC, not me. I'm reading the CDC's website. Atrazine has been shown to slow down the development of fetuses in animals, and exposure to high levels of atrazine during pregnancy cause reduced survival of fetuses, so miscarriages. Now, there are many articles from Scientific America stating that atrazine in water is tied to hormone regulations. Women who drink contaminated water with low levels of weed killer atrazine may be more likely to have irregular menstruations and low estrogen levels, according to a new study. You see this? So just pay attention, read this stuff for yourself. It's so much craziness. Now, while our fruits and vegetables are being sprayed with poison, the meat industry is about to take a turn for the worse now that lab-grown meat is being approved for sale in the U.S. So Upside Foods and Good Meat, two companies that make what they call cultured chicken, said Wednesday that they have gotten approval from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to start producing their own cell-based proteins. That's wild. Last week, Good Meat and Upside said they had received approval for labels for its product from the USDA. In March, Good said it had received the so-called no questions letter from the Food and Drug Administration. That letter states that the administration is satisfied with the product and is safe to sell in the United States. The FDA issued a similar letter to Upside Foods in November. Now, you may be wondering, what is it? What is this lab-grown meat? What is this cultured chicken? So, article says, in a nutshell, lab-grown meat or cultivated or cell-based meat is meat that is developed from animal cells and grown with the help of nutrients like amino acids and these massive bioreactors, right? This happens in a production facility that looks a lot like a brewery. When you picture it, don't think of people in white coats and hairnets peering through microscopes into petri dishes, but instead people with white coats and hairnets wandering around giant vats. That just make it sound more appetizing. I don't know. Like this. Now, roughly speaking, two ways of turning animal cells into a cultivated meat product. The easiest and cheapest is to grow cells in suspension, which means mixing free-floating cells in a bioreactor with liquid feed and waiting until those cells have divided and matured. These suspension cells can be harvested as a meat slurry and produced into ground meat products like hot dogs and chicken nuggets. So, machines in meat slurries? I feel like we saw this before.
There's more jambalaya where that came from, unfortunately.
It's worth it to live forever. This scheme is working perfectly.
That's all to save the planet, right? All right, I'm not going to hold you up too long. But first, Let me tell you something.
Let me tell you something! Let me tell you something!
YouTube has been taking down the comments from my videos. Every video that me and Ted work on, the sources are posted in the comment section, all right? So everything I'm saying, we're backing it up by every single source with the links there for you to see. But lately, I have not been able to post them. They've been banning us from commenting and other people from commenting as well. So please do your own due diligence. Everything I've mentioned here, type it into Google, DuckDuckGo, which is another private search engine. That'll find the results for you. You know, do your own research. Don't listen to me. Don't believe anything I have to say. See it for yourself. You know. So anyway, have a good day, good night. Enjoy your holiday. I'm Jay. This is TD9 signing off.
I can't switch up standing for me. Saying trying to hold me back, I break the curse. Talk to God every day like favorite cousin. They know my name around town because I'm buzzing. Yeah. It's past 4 in the morning. No sleep cause I'm trying to stay on it. Full speed till I crash through my moment.